Hello, I would say good morning, but I don't know when you're watching this actually, but good day. I hope you're doing well, that you're safe and healthy. This is a weird semester, and we had such a great start in class, and then things got really weird. But we'll all keep working together, and it's going to be okay. And that's one thing that I want to reassure you about, both from Southeast Missouri State University and from the Department of Mass Media and from myself personally. We're not going to leave you hanging. We're going to help you get through the coursework you need to get so that you stay on track and you keep things moving. You know, in media, we have to be innovative and responsive and adaptable, and that's just what we're going to do. So, we're going to approach all these classes from an online format now, and it'll be okay. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, please email me. I'm going to have virtual office hours Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, which means I'll be sitting right at my computer. So if you email me during those times, I'll try to get back to you right away. If it's outside of those times, I'll try to get back to you within 24 hours, unless it's late on a Friday night, and then it'll probably be Monday morning. But otherwise, I'm going to try to be very responsive to emails. So that's the best way to get in touch if you have something. But again, hit us for any kinds of questions, any kind of concerns. We will work through this together, and we're going to make sure that you get through what you need to get through. That being said, that's kind of the good news. The challenge of that is that in an online class, a little more of the work kind of shifts to your side. You have to do the readings. You have to do some more work. You have to participate. And you have to have the self-discipline of, oh, I need to do that this week. We'll be doing most of our work in what's called an asynchronous format, which means I'll post stuff on a Monday morning and you've pretty much got all week to work on it, which is different than like, oh, I got to go to class on Monday and Wednesday. So that'll be the self-discipline part for you. You're going to have to take care of that. I'm going to try to have some Zoom meetings for everybody that can participate. If you are not in a Wi-Fi area, if you don't have good reception, if you can't get to it, it's not going to hurt you. The Zoom classes are really just so everybody can kind of talk and keep everybody on track and share anything that's going on. I hope you can participate in those. Right now on Moodle, it says I'm going to do one a week. We'll see if that really works. It might be every other week. We're just going to, a lot of things are just up in the air, so we'll do our best. So the work is going to kind of be on you. What I'm going to do in these videos is do like a mini lecture, just kind of hit the high points that you should be reading on. I'll post the PowerPoints with notes, so you'll have that information and your textbook and this mini lecture. And then we'll have a forum every week, just kind of like we've been doing, but those are going to be worth even more now because that's going to be the main kind of points that we have going on. And we might do a couple of activity things. We'll have one for this week and next week for sure. We've got a couple of quizzes yet to take care of and one more paper. So I've tried to revise the Moodle site so you can see when everything is happening. And the way I'm going to do this is like 8 o'clock Monday morning, that week opens, and midnight Sunday night following that, everything closes. So inside of that week is when you need to get things done. And I'm afraid that deadlines are going to become even more critical because of the online nature of it. So again, if you have any questions about how we're going to handle class, let me know. You'll have one of these lectures, these mini lectures each week. There'll be a forum, there might be an activity. And those are like short write-ups, a couple paragraphs of writing, and then you submit it, something of that nature. We'll still have 2 quizzes left to go and one more paper. So that's what's left in the next 7 weeks for us to take care of. All right, so what I'd like to do is shift gears and talk to you about the chapter for this week, which is the chapter on public relations. And I know some of you in class indicated you were thinking about being public relations majors. So, hey, this is your thing. So I'm going to go through the chapter a little bit as far as what I think the key parts are. You can read, I'll post the notes. I'm not going to regurgitate all of it to you, okay? One of the most important concepts to understand about public relations is that it is mutually beneficial. An organization is going to look at all of the different groups that they have to work with, all the different publics that they have to work with, and they're going to determine what kind of a relationship do I have with that public. And is there something communication-wise I can do a better job at to have a good relationship with that public. And then I do those things, and then I measure it. And if it worked, I go back and I do it again. And if it didn't work, something was wrong. I need to change it. But public relations is a lot about communication and action, how the things that we do with all of these different groups. And if we think about SEMO, how many different publics does SEMO have to interact with? Well, first, I'd say students, faculty, staff, parents, alumni, benefactors, the state of Missouri, vendor. Also, oh my goodness, we've got 8 or 10 different groups of people that we have different relationships with. So we look across all those. What is the state of that relationship? Is it good? Is it positive? How are we communicating? What do we need to do? And then we try to do those things, measure it, and again, repeat it. So that's kind of how it works. Public relations is really a management tool for business-minded people to say, how are we getting along with all of these different groups that we have to get along with? And any organization, any group has lots of different people groups that they have to get along with. And that's what makes public relations very important. One of the other big differences, or maybe one of the ways that like public relations and advertising are really, really different, is that PR will oftentimes use the news media or third-party sources to kind of carry the water. If I'm going to do an advertising campaign, I will buy the ads, I'll buy the space and time, I will craft the message, I produce and place it exactly the way that I want, but I pay for it. In public relations, we don't pay much or very often. We try to have good relationships with the news media, and we craft news type stories and move those in that direction. And we can use our social media and dialogue with clients directly and other vendors. And so I don't really pay so much to place the message, but I'm constantly working in good communication and in placing good messages. So I hope that kind of makes sense as you're reading through that. So it's a management tool. It's very objective driven. It's target focused. Those are the things that make PR what it is. So I've kind of talked a lot about the general aspects of PR. So I'm kind of working through the PowerPoint that you'll be looking at. You might want to read carefully about the origins of public relations in the U.S. and why PR became important. And this kind of goes back to the period of the robber barons. We're talking Carnegies and Vanderbilts and Roosevelts and all of these very, very wealthy, powerful names that controlled a lot of business. So you want to read about that one. And it was a concept called social Darwinism. If you remember what Darwinism is, survival of the fittest, right? Social Darwinism is the idea that if I'm rich or if I'm successful, it's either because I'm smarter, better, or God likes me more. And you should just probably shut up and listen to what I'm saying. Well, there was a revolt against that concept and that attitude against these big business corporations by their customers, by the public. They said, you know what? No, not going to work. So maybe I won't ride your trains. Maybe I won't buy your stuff. And these companies started to understand that they had to listen and communicate with the publics that they deal with. So that's kind of the origin. Read that. Read about the Ludlow mine situation in the textbook. Read about Vanderbilt and the railroads, and that'll give you some understanding of why public relations became important. All right, so we've got that. You'd want to read about a guy called Ivy Lee and his concepts about public relations, about being an open and kind of transparent institution, about having a face of the organization and knowing what you're about, and then talking straight to people. There are a lot of forms of public relations. You might hear other phrases like publicity or promotion or image consultant or relationship management. All of those are different kinds of subspecialties of public relations, if you will. And it's everything from the image consultant that says, hey, if you're going to be in a debate on TV, be sure you wear this color of tie or that color of suit or use these talking points, to public relations in large corporations that are dealing with lots of different publics all the time. What else do we need to know there? There are some both very good and very bad examples of public relations activities. So I'm going to talk about two of those briefly, And your assignment for this week is for you to do some online research and find a good or bad example of PR at work. But here's two. One of the textbook examples is about Tylenol. So we're talking about the 1970s, and people in Chicago start dying of poisoning, and the only link they can find is that they'd recently bought Tylenol. So instead of blaming or shifting, Tylenol does this real kind of upfront thing, and they say things like, "Hey, if you've got Tylenol in your cabinet, throw it away, or bring it back for a refund, or bring it back and we'll give you a refund and a coupon for our competitors thing." They shut off production lines. They shut off transportation. They pulled the stock off of shelves. They did everything they could to try to protect the public. I think 7 people died, and they found out it was an urban terrorist. What he was doing was just going through, popping open bottles, squirting a little strychnine on there, and closing it up. That's why we have kind of stringent packaging laws now, so that kind of thing can't happen anymore. But Tylenol did the great thing. They took responsibility. They were open in their communications. They put people's lives above business. Wow, that's a really interesting theme going on these days too. But they put their customers' lives and their trust above sales. So they took a major hit. They had at one point maybe 30% of the pain reliever market, and it fell into single digits. But they were able to rebuild that because they kept the public trust. In fact, for a very long time, their brand name was Tylenol, the brand you can trust. It wasn't just about pain relief. It meant that we put people above profits and we'll take care of you. And people respond to that. Now, on the flip side, here's a really negative example. Do you remember the BP oil spill? Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. And British Petroleum had a CEO, what was his name? Tony Hayward was the guy's name. And this guy was a doofus. Every time he opened his mouth, he said something incredibly stupid. I can't wait for this to get over so I can get my life back in order. Like he's a gazillionaire. And he was completely tone deaf, that people in the Gulf were losing their businesses, were in serious, serious trouble, that oil's washing up and it's making a huge mess. He said things like, "Oh, the Gulf is big, it'll take care of it. It's only a little oil." He was an idiot. And everything that he said hurt people, hurt his business, hurt the people across the country that owned a BP gas station, who didn't even have anything to do with it. So the company finally pulled him out. And they did a smart thing, and they put in people who lived in that area. And they could honestly say, "Look, I'm from here, and I live here, and I'm gonna be here until this problem is fixed." And then it started to turn. I think one of his famous ones, he was complaining at a press conference. Tony Hayward was about, this is really messing up my life, and I've got to get to a yacht race. Really? What an idiot. Okay. Yeah, they got rid of him finally. Any other things that you need to know about PR? I think you can probably pull out of the chapter. It's a management tool to manage the relationships that organizations have with all of these different publics. It's primarily rooted in good communication, both outbound and dialogic, listening to customers and doing that. And in a world of social media, that's important. If in the old days, if a company messed something up, it would take a little while before people figured it out. But now, if you screw up, everybody can know about it all the way around the planet within minutes. And that's really changed the need for good, solid practices in public relations. All right, so that's the chapter on PR. That's kind of my brief lecture. I would say that those are the high points, the key points. So go over the PowerPoint and the book so that you can kind of absorb some of that. Then for the assignment, find a good or bad example of PR. Do a short write-up, couple paragraphs, no more. Don't write War and Peace on this thing. Keep it short, but give me the example of like who the company is or what the situation was, and write a couple of paragraphs on that and submit that into the Dropbox. So that's the stuff for this week, along with a forum on this topic, and I think there might be a video link for you to watch as well. All right? If you got questions, hit me on the email. I'll get back to you as quick as I can. Please stay safe. Be healthy, be kind, and we'll get through all this together. So I'm going to miss seeing you guys in class. I've enjoyed the work we've done so far, but we're going to find ways to keep it going. So if I can get this Zoom thing set up, I'll hit you an email on that and send you the link. So Carry on. Be safe. Be kind.